it's the Mad Queen. Welcome into the Queen's Lair as I dive into Nathalia this time with another All About Hero in my All About Heroes Spotlight playlist. Yes, it's a tongue twister. So if you're interested in finding out more information like this about other heroes, check out that playlist on the main channel of my YouTube. So Nathalia is a water element epic hero. She is also an offensive hero, which means that she is meant to deal damage. So because she is from the water element, she's going to deal additional damage to the fire element, so heroes that are red, and she's going to take additional damage from the wood element, which are heroes that are green. And this, I'm going to talk about quite a few details. I'm going to show you the stats I currently have on her, my gear, a couple of gear options actually. We're going to talk about her abilities, her glyphs, her masteries, her ascensions. I'm going to talk about where her best uses are, where you probably don't want to use her, and I'm going to rate her in every place within the game, and that's going to happen right in here in this section. And if you're interested in seeing that, that is going to be towards the end of the video. Nathalia is an S+ tier hero, which for me, that is the very top. That is at least the top of my tier list that I like to make. But she can be used in a ton of places. What's really nice is she's also an epic hero. So it is going to be a bit easier to get multiple copies of her so you can unlock her ascension. Taking a look at her ascension, she does get it on her second copy. So that is nice as well. There's a lot of heroes that have been coming out where you have to get like 5 copies of them to actually unlock their ascension. So it's nice that Nathalia, of course, does not require that many copies. I'm going to quickly read all of her abilities. So her trait, Arcane Energy, for each positive effect on her, Nathalia's abilities target 1 extra enemy. And when she has 4 or more positive effects, she targets all the enemies. After you get her ascension, she is also going to deal extra damage for each of those positive effects that she has on as well. Her first basic ability, Arcane Surge, deals 90% damage to 1 enemy and gains a random stats up for 1 turn. So like it says here, either attack up, defense up, speed up, crit rate up, or crit damage up. And then next we have Arcane Ward, her passive. If she's affected by a positive effect at the beginning of her turn, she is going to apply attack up for 3 turns and immune for 2 turns at the start of her turn, which is on a 3-round cooldown. And then her ultimate, Arcane Nova, deals 200% damage to 1 enemy. If the enemy is killed, it resets this ability's cooldown. A lot of people get confused because whenever Nathalia attacks, she is able to hit more than 1 enemy at a time, but it's not because she's dealing AoE damage. When you read her skills, it's telling you right here, she is targeting and hitting 1 enemy. But whenever you put buffs on her, or she has multiple buffs on, now she's allowed to target more enemies. She's not doing damage to the area. She is individually targeting each enemy on the battlefield. So there is a difference. A lot of people want to try to put an avarice set on her, but this does not work for Nathalia because the avarice set gives additional damage when it's based over an area, which she's not doing, like I said. So the kind of sets you could look to put on her are going to be warrior, assassins. You can use the rage set. There are so many different sets you can put on her, and I'll show you a couple different options. But first, I'm going to show you my overall stats on her. Her attack is 5,500, 106% crit rate, 317% crit damage, and 196% speed. So the stats you want to really take a look at here are going to be her attack, and then her crit rate, then her crit damage, and lastly, the speed. I will also say that my Nathalia is level 70. She's fully ascended. I have all of her abilities and her glyphs completely finished. Please make sure that you do this not on Nathalia only, but all heroes, it's so important to prioritize getting those done. I know you really want to rush through and try to start using these guys. You're going to get a lot better results if you do this. Also, I do have her completely full on masteries. She has 15 out of 15 books. You don't necessarily need to go that hard for Nathalia. Once you get her 4 out of 4 here on her gear, you can stop. But out of all the heroes, I would recommend going for the full thing and just maxing out totally. Nathalia is one of those. You can use her in so many places. Like I said before, she does a ton of damage, and you won't regret using your resources on her, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. As far as her gear, you can see I do currently have an assassin set on her and a warrior set. I do typically like to run an assassin set and a guard set. That's one that I don't think I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, but the guard set is going to give her a permanent buff always, because it's going to give her a shield at the start of her turn based on a certain percentage of her overall health. That set is really, really good for her because if you remember from her passive, if she has one positive effect on her at the beginning of her turn, she's going to give herself 2 more. She needs 4 positive effects to be able to target all enemies on the battlefield. So that's going to automatically give her 3 right off the bat just from having that guard set as well, which is really nice. You can see I do have this warrior set, and I'm going to show you the specifics of each stat here. I do have speed boots on her. I have a crit damage ring, and I have an attack percent necklace. For the substats on the other 3 pieces on top, I tried to get as much crit rate, attack, and crit damage as possible. I also want to mention newer players or mid-game players will be able to get away with using attack percent boots instead of speed. For the content that I'm personally at in the game, it is very late in-game content, and she does need to be pretty quick. But for the main part, for places for beginners and mid-game players, you guys can use attack percent boots here. Just try to get a couple of random speed stats on any of the 4 substats of these guys. As we know, you cannot get speed as a substat on the other 2 items here. It's not possible. With how they decided to do the game, they don't allow you to get speed on those. You can also look to use a rage set, which is going to give her an increased boost on her overall crit rate, and you can look to use as well a raider set, which will make her faster. The speed that you're going to need for her is really, really dependent on where you're at in the game and what you're going to be using her for. Lastly, I do want to go ahead and rate her everywhere in the game, but before I do that, I'm going to go over a few of her best uses, not all of them, because she literally can be used almost everywhere in the game. She is excellent for the Void Tower to help you farm for your glyphs and for your jelly, your XP jelly. She's amazing in the arena. I mean, literally everywhere. The only place that she will kind of really start to fall off is the guild boss. You're only going to use her as a beginner or mid-game player. Once you start to unlock other heroes that are specifically meant for the guild boss, you'll use those over her. And you can see here, they are recommending the guard set, the rage set, and the warrior set. Oh, I did also forget to mention, they have pairings. So they're recommending Brand, Yolanda, and Joseph. These guys are good for Nathalia. You can also look to use Winstrix. She is a really good pairing for Nathalia, as well as Halea or Halia. I never say that name right. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. For arena offense, I'm going to give her 5 stars. I absolutely dominate with her in the arena. As far as arena defense, she can be 4-star. Again, this is going to depend where you're at in the arena. I'm going to give her 3 stars here. No Man's Land, the Bane Wraith. I am going to give her 3. I'm going to give her 2 stars. She is a weak affinity here. As far as the Flame Lizard, I'm going to give her 5 stars. The Wraithful Flood, I'll give her 5 stars as well. Lord of Holy Light, 5 stars. Shadow Captive, 5 stars. The Roaring Tulpa, again, she is a weak affinity here. I'll give her the 2 stars. Ash Magisteria, she is one of the best heroes to use there. 5 stars, absolutely. Queen of Tides, excellent here. 5 stars. Witch of the Wind, 5 stars. Also one of the best heroes you can use there. And then when it comes to the guild boss, I'm going to give her 3 stars. Like I said, she can be helpful as you're progressing, but you're not going to use her in the later stages of the game. But all of these other places where I have rated her have been dependent as well on being able to use her in really late in-game stages of content within the game as well. This hero is going to be excellent for everyone. Beginners, mid-game players, late game, in-game players, everyone. She is extremely versatile, and she is 101,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000, love her. Definitely one of my very most used heroes in general on my account. If you guys have any questions or additional comments, something you want to add, leave that down below. I would love to answer anything you guys have to say or continue any kind of conversation regarding Nathalia there. Also, join my growing Discord community, especially if you're a newer or beginner player. It's a great place for you guys to ask for advice and for the more experienced players that I have in my community to help answer those questions for you guys. The link for that is going to be in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.